Hello, everyone. Excited to be here for day two, where we are going to be talking about energetic overwhelm, how to not be overwhelmed as a highly sensitive, intuitive, empathic person, and how they can really be your greatest gift. And we're also going to do a really fun healing exercise. We're going to activate your own healing energy. And I'm going to teach you how you can use some tools to clear out the emotions that you might be either holding on to that are your own or other people's. If you've absorbed other people's energy as a highly sensitive or an empath, right? And so, thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to say, um, yeah, this is exciting. If you missed day one already, don't worry. The replays are up. They're in a playlist on YouTube. They're pinned at the top of the Facebook group. And of course, if you've officially registered, you will have been emailed them. We also emailed a clean version of the meditation yesterday. So it'll be easy listening. You'll notice that on the replay pages, for those who officially registered, you have a replay page below the videos. We're going to put the meditation only so you can re-listen to it, or the meditation with theta healing music in the background if you prefer it that way. So if you had trouble hearing yesterday or you missed it, you can re-listen to it in a smooth version on that replay page. So it's always fun to redo them. You get more and more levels of insight every time you go deeper. And if you're someone who didn't experience a lot yet, that's totally fine. The activations and the attunements are always still working, even if we aren't aware of it. Sometimes we get out of our body just to allow deeper healing. And sometimes, and this was a question I got, and I think it's a good one to answer right now, which is, what do you mean by unconscious, right? Sometimes we go a little unconscious in a high level activation journey like that. We're going to be doing a lot of healing and activations over the next few days. And sometimes when you go into the higher frequency, for a couple of reasons, you can either get out of your own way and allow the healing to occur, right? Kind of like when you're driving and you drive for a little while and all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, did I pass all those streetlights? I didn't realize, right? Time can just kind of pass that way where you're not really fully aware. And so, but the other reason sometimes can be is it's new levels of awareness. We're activating higher frequency energy, new awarenesses you didn't previously have. And so sometimes I will use the term unconscious in the sense that you were unaware, like you kind of just lost my voice. You couldn't hear me for a second. And it could be because you were just bubbling off like a layer of something that, awakening something new bubbles up things, right? It might even bubble up emotions. It could bubble up just kind of like a puff of unconscious energy. Just means you sort of not even aware for a second of what's going on. Maybe you even lost track of my voice for a minute. And that's all okay. It's part of the healing, it's part of the activation, it's part of the process. Now, if you kind of didn't have much of an experience in one of the activations, or you did kind of fall asleep, which is fine, it still works, right? Or you had a moments where you really couldn't follow for whatever reason. Listening to it again could mean that you'll get a deeper level of awareness and healing. So they always meet you where you're at. So people will listen to them over and over, which is why on the replay page, I add the meditation version only for easy listening. Okay. And you can choose with or without music. So let's see yesterday I loved my loved one's realm. I was choked in purple energy velvet. I could feel them visually, but were lost compared to the other realms. I was cloaked in deep purple. Okay, yeah, and I think a lot of times this could be a couple of reasons, especially in the mediumship realm, because there's a lot of emotion there. And sometimes when we have unhealed grief, or we still have grief, the energy of our loved one that could be reflecting there, where it's either too painful to acknowledge them, or it bubbles up the grief that needs healing, right? Or just being in that realm might have just elicited a healing for somebody that a loved one that has passed away, right, in the past. So sometimes that can be what it is it's reflecting to you a little bit of that, like that recognition of the energy reflects that. And so for some people, that realm can be either emotional or kind of murky, right? It's not quite as high frequency as some of the other realms, right? So that makes perfect sense to me. But yeah, I just want to explain what unconsciousness is. And the other thing is like, and it's not a competition either. Like everybody's on their own spiritual path in their own time, in their own way, and it's perfect. And so some people here have been taking this with me several times. Some of them are even graduates of my Soul Success Unleashed program, gone on to get certified with me. They still come back to take this round of the free version because you get so much transformation and new awarenesses. And one of my graduates actually just said yesterday, "Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I listened to day one and I couldn't believe how much I've grown in contrast to the first time I listened to your series 3 years ago. It's amazing. I didn't even understand half of what you were saying." And now she's like, got her own business doing similar, her own version of supporting people in the world with her intuition. And so this builds and grows, right? Wherever you're at is where you're at. A lot of you might be brand new. You're going to get a great foundation. A lot of you have been here a while. Amazing. You're getting really deep experiences, but don't let that discourage you. Use it as inspiration. If somebody else had an expansive experience and you're like, "Oh, I didn't get much, or I couldn't feel anything, or I can't see yet," it's okay. Everybody had to start there, right? And it can change very quickly. So I just wanted to kind of mention that. But another thing is, if you do have a tendency to sort of go unconscious, if you will, kind of lose awareness, just know it's still working. And that if you sit up, you probably have a better chance of staying aware than if you lay down. That will tend to make you kind of go asleep a little bit as well. The other thing that can happen, because from today forward, each day we're going to do really deep healing and activation work on your third eye, your throat, your clairvoyance, right? Today we're going to work on the empathic, the emotional body a lot, in your physical body, the different light bodies that you have. And so sometimes you might feel emotions. You might feel pressure, like in the third eye. A lot of times we'll say, "Oh, I feel like I got a pressure." But none of that is new. What's happening is these high energies are reflecting to you your divine, like highest divine frequency. And so what it's showing you is backboarding anywhere that's not aligned, any fear-based energy, anything that's not true to who you are, right? Whether that's your um, emotions that you're ready to let go of, which is why you might feel emotions bubble up, or whether it's programming, religious programming, or some kind of programming or fear about your third eye, being able to access it. And so when we do the activation, it might just feel like tension. It's not that it hasn't, that's always been there. It's just now you're ready to heal it. Now you're ready to be aware of it. Now this high energy is giving you the opportunity to recognize it so it can be released, right? And so just know that sometimes that happens and it's totally fine. And it's actually part of the healing journey. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So I kind of just wanted to stop there. In today's handout, which should have no issues, work just fine. There is a TLC body meditation. So you got the handout, is what I wanted to mention, if for those of you that registered. And then on the replay page, there's going to be a TLC body meditation. That's a really great tool to help you release emotions, to start to learn just a very short 7 minutes, teaches you how to just have a simple meditation practice to center yourself. A lot of questions were coming in around, like, how do I recognize, which angel's which, or whatever, or how do I know if it's me versus my intuition? And meditation is really the key awareness to start with. Getting clear and clearing your mind and clearing out everybody else's stuff so that you have a clear filter, to then have a deeper level of contrast and discernment, to knowing what does my energy feel like without everybody else? What does my true energy feel like, right? My higher self, my true self, without everybody else's influence in my field, which most people don't have a lot of awareness or experience with that until they learn these types of energy tools. Okay. Kind of just match and absorb everything around us otherwise, right? And then the other aspect is that that'll be clear, and then you'll have a clearer channel. And that way, when other energy does enter your field, you'll be aware, much more aware, that in contrast, that's not what your own energy feels like. Therefore, it's not mine. It's not my emotion, or it's not, that's a spirit guide, right? Or what have you. So I put that in there just as a little bit of a support material for you. Okay. Okay. So there's so many different types of ways to meditate. I don't want to get too far off track. I'm going to be teaching, so start with that. That's the first thing I want to teach you. I do have a whole system I teach called Energetic Mastery Program, which has 6 tools that work together to create a meditation practice that I'll kind of talk more about as we go through. But yes, just know that starting with focusing on the breath, the TLC body meditation I gave you is a great way to start, to just get centered. Focusing on your body and your breath is always in the present moment, right? It doesn't have to be perfectly clear and silent in the mind, but getting calm and centered in the present is huge. And so that's why the body and the breath and being in nature and being around animals can be so healing, because it brings you to the present moment. You're not in your mind in the future worrying about to-do lists. You're not in the past ruminating feeling frustrated or angry or self-punishment in some way, right? You're present. And that's really the key, one important foundational key to meditation, which is why focusing on the breath and the body can be a powerful start. Okay. But I do teach deeper processes for sure. But the TLC meditation is a good place to start. Okay. So I wanted to add that in there because I get that question a lot. You're not, a lot of people, I can't clear my mind. And it's a practice and it gets easier. Okay. With practice. So that's kind of where I just wanted to start off, just kind of preface things. You can listen to these out of order. So if you didn't watch day one, stay here today, go back for it, and that'll be perfect. So day two, we're going to talk about how to avoid energetic overwhelm, right? And activating your healing energy. Yesterday, if you were here, I did share a little bit of my story, like what led to my dark night of the soul. I'm not going to go deep into that, but essentially the Cliff Note version was I was an empath and a highly sensitive person with a little ADHD, not knowing it, who is numbing a lot through food, alcohol, or otherwise, to which led to a car accident. Right, I was just numbing all the time because I didn't know how to manage all this overwhelm. Right, I didn't know why it was happening or what it was. I was just managing life as best I could. I didn't have any tools yet, like meditation or what we're talking about here. So I got in a car accident, and my grandfather came to me in a dream and woke up something within me that reminded me that I wasn't alone, right? And after that, my intuition really bursted open pretty quickly. So at this point in my journey, if you want to hear the full version, you can listen to day one. But at this point, I was awakened and I had to figure out what to do with it, right? And I know a lot of you are kind of at this turning point as well, where you've had this awakening. And so the life that you knew, who you were, who you are now from your awareness doesn't necessarily fit completely who you were, but you don't know where you're going. It's kind of like this in between limbo space. You can let me know if you've ever felt like that. Um, but I remember I went to a psychic, so I didn't even know if I thought psychics were real or not. Maybe some people could. I had never given it much thought yet, right? But she told me that I would be doing what she was doing within 5 years. And I'm like, I barely just started hearing my grandfather and getting aware of my archangels and seeing numbers. Like it sounded exciting and it felt kind of true, but I also it was so far from my life at that time. I couldn't imagine. Right. But I got started on my quest of my deeper healing. And within a short period of time, I was really aware I also wanted to help other people, highly sensitive and who have gone through an awakening, to really utilize their own gifts and not feel overwhelmed. Right, Tammy, you're not alone. Right, you're not alone. And so she was right. Within 4 years, actually, my first spiritual business called Divine Spark Within, where I was supporting others in their gifts, similarly to now, right? Different, always different, but similar in terms of the core of it. But it never really took off. Even though I was awakened, I was still in the spiritual closet. And this was a big thing. So there's a couple reasons why it didn't work, because I couldn't imagine how my newly awakened past life, angel life, energy healing, oracle card reading, clairvoyant self, like I didn't know how my networking professionals for my wedding business would take that, or my hair clients, or my family. I was raised in a very conservative religious upbringing, and we didn't, this stuff was kind of taboo. And so like I just was kind of hiding, right? In this way. I was afraid to be seen in that way. Let me know if you can resonate with that. And the second reason why it didn't take off was because I was tremendously afraid of public speaking. Let me know if you can relate to that. I think most of us are, right? In high school, I was so painfully shy. I was a honor student and I was quiet. And so my teachers usually let me do my oral reports before or after school because I literally just couldn't do it. I'd get up there, I'd freeze like a deer in headlights. I'd feel embarrassed. I'd get in my head. And it was just awful. It was awful. And so I wouldn't do it. I'd convince them to let me do it before or after school. I didn't join a networking group for like a year that I knew would grow my business because I'd have to say my name and my business on a microphone or, even to the group. And I just was petrifying. And so I didn't do it. But after a while, fast forward a couple of years, I realized that this lifelong fear was really keeping me small and stuck in my business. Right. And so God has a funny sense of humor. And I did what I just shared with you, the TLC body meditation. Right? I took that, and basically TLC means talk, listen, and commit. You can use it in many ways. There's a short video that explains it. I think you'll really love it. So I used that TLC body meditation because I'd gone to this. Next thing you know, I end up at a conference for public speaking, right? It's a conference that's called for client attraction. And I get there and they're talking about public speaking. And I'm like, angels, what are you talking about? Like, That's my worst fear is speaking. You've got to be kidding me. You got me to come here and this is what I got to do. And so I noticed though, by then, if I'm arguing for my fears or fighting with my angels, it's because I'm arguing for my fears, right? So I'd had this vision of speaking on stage and teaching and writing books, but that felt so far removed from my reality at that time. But here I was sitting here in this group of like expanding my business, and like, well, it's up to you. And so I got really clear with that TLC meditation, that process, and I felt into it. And I thought, is this, I know that when my soul's voice, my intuition is in alignment, when I hear that in my heart, fear doesn't stop me, right? But if I listen to the fear, then I let it derail me and take me off guard. So in that process, I got really clear that fulfilling my purpose and sharing my gifts with others and helping other people get their gifts online to help the world, right, was bigger than my fear of public speaking. So I leapt in alignment with my vision. I spent $22,000 to learn my biggest fear of speaking. When I didn't actually even have my mortgage payment in the bank account that month, right? Like for me, that was a huge investment of $1,000 for 22 months that I wasn't sure how I was going to afford, but I did know at that point in time, based off of what I taught you yesterday, working with the angels, asking for signs, knowing I'm supported, listening to the signs, I knew that I could trust this leap of faith. And I leapt in alignment with a vision. Of course, now I feel thrilled to be here doing classes like this with all of you and, getting the feedback that I'm helping to inspire and change people's lives, right? And I know that many of you here feel that calling too. And so I just wanted to bring that piece around. And if you're new on your awakening and you're unsure yet, that's fine. The rest of the whole series is going to be beneficial. But I know many of you who follow me or are attracted to my work are in the similar place, go through awakening, know you want to be of service, feel a calling, but not sure what it is and have a lot of fears in the way. And I just wanted to, give you some of those things to know that you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Trust me, right? If I could do it, you can do it. And you're meant to do it. And you have support along the way. Right. And the world is waiting. We signed up at this time to be of service to help humanity's awakening journey that's happening so far and wide right now and will continue to over many years and decades to come. Okay. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I think that can be helpful to recognize. And I realized that looking back, in hindsight, looking back, being highly sensitive and empathic, we're already feeling so much. The energetic overload, which is part of today's topic, I was feeling so much. I really couldn't imagine managing more. And that was actually part of my public speaking fear, which I didn't realize. Let me know in the chat if you're any of these things or all three of these things, right? And if you don't know, it's fine too. But if you identify with being an empath, right, feeling the emotions of others, um, feeling very sensitive and absorbing the emotions of others oftentimes when it's not working well for you, right? Being a highly sensitive person, which has a lot of overlap, but some very nuanced differences, but everything I'm sharing applies to both. Or as an intuitive, right? Or all three. I think there's a ton of crossover with all of that. And I definitely resonated as all three. But what I've noticed is a lot of times there's a lot of similar patternings, right? A lot of times there's this, as an empath being unconscious, some of the patterns that happen of being so sensitive to other people's feelings and aware of their feelings, not wanting to hurt their feelings, or whatever it might be, can lead to a lot of codependency. There's a lot of patterns that can be driven from not having good energetic boundaries, not being aware of how to make your sensitivities your greatest gift instead of a burden, right? I'll never forget the first time that I ever felt the transference of energy. I was shampooing. This was before my business started. It was about a year after my awakening. I started taking some meditation classes, learning to develop my gifts, learning some protection tools, sort of similar to what we're working on here. And I was shampooing my client's hair, and all of a sudden I got like this piercing headache. And I never get headaches. I never get migraines. I've never had a migraine, barely even get a regular headache. All of a sudden I had like what I assumed to be a migraine pressing on my head, on my eyes. And I went back to my hair station and she says, "Wow, you have magic fingers. I've had a migraine for 3 days. And after that shampoo, it's totally gone." And I'm like, I just sucked it up. I just like took it. It's transference of energy. I just absorbed it. Like that was my first real conscious awareness of how an empath can kind of take in and take on somebody else's pain around them. And most of the time, it's very unconscious, right? And then we don't even know if it's ours or theirs. So asking, is this mine, can be a great way to start inquiring, like, is this even mine? Sometimes things will just drop away with that awareness. But if we're unaware, it just builds on us, which is, I think, ultimately what led to a lot of my hit my proverbial rock bottom was a lot to do with both of these things, like being energetically overwhelmed, taking on my clients' energy all day, not knowing what to do with it, not knowing it wasn't mine, overloaded, numbing with food or alcohol or whatever, just to try to get through the day so I could do it again. You know what I mean? And so but I didn't know that was happening. Right. And another thing that can happen is sometimes we'll have the foot on the pedal and the brake when it comes to growing our businesses, if you feel called to grow a business, because we're already at capacity. Can't imagine taking on more energy. Right. And this is where it's essential to learn your energetic boundaries, to be able to master being able to be in your heart, being elevated, not blocking off everything, because that doesn't work either. Right. Which is kind of the first training wheel step of like protection tools from a fear-based perspective that's blocking. I have a little whole bonus video I'm going to be sharing with you down the series about this. So, because that's a whole workshop in itself. But essentially, just being able to be grounded, centered, aligned, and open hearted, open to your intuition, open with your vibrations so that you are recognized for your energy and manifest quickly and have connection to your angels and guides and intuition, but yet not being a sponge to everything around you. That is huge. That is huge. And what I can also tell is, looking back at my fear of public speaking, it is largely because I was highly sensitive, right? I was hypersensitive to other people's judgments. In high school, people are staring at you, they're judging your clothing, they're whatever they're doing. They're people aren't very nice a lot of times. Kids are, there's a lot of judgment happening, right? And so I literally just didn't feel like I get this like awareness of all this attention, which was filled with a lot of judgment, and it would just make me be paralyzed. It'd make me literally leave my body, forget what I'm saying, stand there like a deer in a headlight, then go into self punishment. Oh my God, now I look like an idiot. Thoughts in my mind. And I had no idea what my report was supposed to be about. Right. And so I think that that was really a lot of it is I wasn't having any energetic boundaries. Right. So let me know too, if have you ever felt like you've walked on eggshells? Like there's a lot of common patterns for sensitives and empaths, especially before our awakening or before we learn energy mastery tools, right? Because really, once you learn tools, it's your greatest gift, right? It flips the switch from being overwhelmed and all of those things to, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is awesome, right? It becomes your greatest gift. But it wasn't always that way, right? For me, for sure. So I remember that. And I remember, some of the eggshells, I remember I found myself in a lot of unhealthy, abusive relationships. When I was a child, my parents, were young and there's a lot of alcohol and drugs in the house when I was young. Now they're completely been different people, sober and everything for many 20, over 20 something years now, so different people now. But when I was raised, they were young, 19, 20. They were in their patterns, right? And at the time, I would be afraid of what I was going to say. I didn't want to start an argument, right? And then because of that kind of high sensitivity, I think there's a lot of codependent behaviors that start to happen to manage the energy of everyone around you, which led me to a bunch of very unhealthy, abusive relationships for all the way through my 20s. Right. And so these repeat patterns kept repeating because those experiences need to be healed. The underlying root cause of these patterns, right? Trying to manage and feel safe as a sensitive person without tools basically. And so I had to, because I hadn't deprogrammed my nervous system, because I hadn't uh, learned and cleared like my energy boundaries or understand the root cause of the codependent behavior where I was giving more than I was receiving. Right, there's a lot of it. Giving, like here's some common patterns are often addictions and numbing of some kind at some point, boundaries with others, giving more than you're receiving, feeling like a doormat in relationships, codependency, feeling afraid of using your voice and your power. These are all very common. And it really does stem back to a lot of the unconscious coping mechanisms about being highly sensitive, empathic, and not feeling safe because of the energetic overload. Right. And so they really all just sort of ping together in a big way. And so that's really important to know. And so that's really a big part of my awakening. And it's a lot about why I'm so passionate about empowering sensitives with tools and processes, right? Like I have in my son, I have a whole soul success unleashed program where some people are asking about my meditation tools and things. Well, the first 2 weeks is the energetic mastery foundations, learning to meditate, learning to ground and clear your energy, learning to elevate your energy without feeling overwhelmed, right? Learning how to be in the world. I've heard a lot of empaths tell me too, oh, I would love to go to a concert, or I'd love to do this. I can't because I can't be in public, right? Well, that's not fun to not live the life you want to do because you feel so overwhelmed, or just going to a family event can just cause extreme stress because of the level of energy, right? So it's like we want to be able to go be in the world without without feeling like we have to hide, or without having to feel like we're overwhelmed, right? We're all mirror images of ourselves. Absolutely. This is true too, right? That goes deeper into how to recognize our patterns and using the trigger as a healing tool. Absolutely agree. We definitely go deep into that as well. Let's see. Rebecca says, your classes and tools have given me my life back. Makes my heart so happy. Like literally, I get little pangs of emotion, like, oh, makes me so happy because I know they work. And it's so powerful when you don't have to feel disempowered as an empath, right? Many of these patterns you're describing are also trauma responses. Exactly, it's pretty much what it comes down to, right? Not healing. We have to heal at the root cause, right? The nervous system imprints, the trauma response, if you like that language, right? So all of that is underlying root cause of deprogramming ourselves, right? Clearing and healing past traumas, nervous system imprints, all of these things. And but in order to really have a healthier relationship to things and having a new way to respond instead of react, right? We have to often have tools and awareness in place to navigate life differently, right? And that's really what we're talking about here in this series and a lot today, and really what my whole foundation of my work is about in a big way. Okay, because I do know that you can be happy, functional, expansive, and even I'm still a highly sensitive empath who needs alone time to recharge, right? Who still, if I went to an in-person party, I'd probably still be the quiet one. I'm not going to be the one like the life of the party, even though I'm here talking with all of you. I feel very passionate, very like, I've moved through a lot of the fears, but at the same time, I'm still the person who's the observer. So if I know that if I can do it, and I've seen many other students of mine go through the program and start to be empowered, starting their own businesses, doing their Facebook Live for the first time, right? Also, many friends and peers as well. So we really can change things, right? But it's up to us to change it, right? It's up to us to see the world as a reflection, and to use that as an opportunity of transformation and change, right? Which is definitely how I teach this as well. All right, so let me know if that makes sense. So is this kind of, it looks like this is resonating. I kind of want to look at the comments for a second here and see if there's any specific, I won't be able to catch all the questions probably, but I want to make sure if there's anything, is this making sense? Is there any specific questions about what I've shared? Does that resonate for you? I'm trying to see. Trying to just scroll back. So let me know. I'm going to come back to the top here. Been trying to figure this out for a while and I just feel stuck. You're not alone in that, Vince. You're absolutely not alone. Keep staying the course. Ever since I've even known you, even just however many months, right? You've grown a lot. Even though so this is where it's interesting. Sometimes, think back to the first time you heard this series. I think this is your second time here. So the first time, you know what I mean? How much what I you're picking up what I'm putting down, probably more this time than last time, right? Every time it's kind of nice to see the contrast. Like my other student said, oh my gosh, from 3 years ago, I didn't even know what you're talking about half the things, but I knew I was supposed to be there. And she ended up joining my program and continuing through. And now she's here and she's like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. Like how much contrast, like it's in the contrast sometimes that we can, not to judge ourselves about who we were in the past, but just to be able to acknowledge the growth that we've had, right? Because there's always more growth. So hang in there. You're not alone. It's about staying the course. It's about putting things into action too, right? We have to take responsibility for our energy, responsibility for our lives, and put the time in. If we don't put the time in to meditate, I'm not referring this towards you at all, but just in general, we have to put the time in. Are we meditating regularly? Are we changing habits? Are we doing things that we need to do to sustain our energy field? I'm going to talk about a few of those things as well, because I think that that could be helpful, right? Just being able to, self care. What is it that you need? Notice, what do you need to rejuvenate your energy? For some people, it could be different types of non-negotiable things on my day, right? I wake up early. I don't take calls in the morning. First thing, I create the first few hours of my day to be able to wake up a little slowly, sit in my hot tub, meditate, journal, create, and then I move into the, maybe channeling for my business a little bit. And then I start taking calls, usually 11 o'clock, so that I can, because I know that that works for me. I know that I know that dance, Zumba movement works for me. I know that sometimes taking a hot salt bath, now, a hot salt bath on its own is not enough, but incorporating massage and self care and salt baths and things like this, that sustains me. Not drinking a ton of caffeine, that supports me. My mind, the mental brain of my anxiety will just get on overdrive, right? So kind of learning, like, what do you need to do on a self-care level to maintain your energy field as a sensitive and empath, and then upholding that boundary of time and upholding and holding yourself accountable to doing those things. And meditation, I think, is huge, even if it's only 10 minutes a day, right? Because I get it. Some days we have more time than others, but if you do it for that 10 or 20 minutes, I guarantee, like for me, when I take the time to actually meditate in the morning, even half hour, however long my morning routine takes, I like to combine meditation, journaling, and conscious creation with my visualization tools, right? Like I teach. And so that might take at least like an hour on average, right? But that's doing a few different ways. And I consider it part of my work day, because if I didn't do that, like what I get done in the next 4 or 5 hours is way more than I'd get done, because I'm in synchronicity, I'm in flow, I'm in alignment with my intuition, I've got the ideas, right? I'm more focused and clear, versus if I didn't do that, I would probably not get through my to-do list at all, right? It would take me a lot longer. And so it actually saves you time. But you'll start to realize, and then I started to protect that time. Right. So even if it's 10 minutes here or there, I've had single moms say, I had to go make a spot in my walk in closet or in my bathroom and just tell my children, I'm out for a minute, right? And just do what you got to do. Take 10. I used to do the TLC body meditation in the bathroom at my salon all the time. I would take a little reset energy break, 5 minutes, go, okay, little bathroom break, right? But really, energy reset break. So just, you got to set yourself up for success, but then you have to do it, right? You have to do it. Okay. But it will actually also, um, so that is definitely one way. Meditation is a very powerful way. I was always in survival mode, which messes with the nervous system. Absolutely. And meditation and learning, doing these things is what's going to absolutely help you. It's going to absolutely help you, right? By connecting with your body is one of the most easy, powerful ways, right? So check out the TLC body meditation, because that's an easy way to start learning how to release emotions, how to identify emotions, how to connect just with being present in your body and begin to cultivate a routine, right? Okay, so now I want to do a fun exercise. This is going to be really fun. And you have to use your imagination, right? And then I think if you explore this with me, you'll find that it's happening, right? It's happening, right? For sure. So we're going to do a fun experience where I'm going to work with our creative channel. So just briefly, we have, our throat chakra has a lot of abilities, right? It has part of our channeling abilities, our clairaudient and abilities, but it also connects to our creative channels, which flow down our arms and out our hands, our hand chakras. We have a lot of hand chakras as well, healing energy as well as manifesting energy. So this is kind of where creative energy gets to flow through, moves through the throat and out the hands. And so what we're going to do today, and this, you may have done this before, right? And I think, I don't remember where the first time I saw this was, like in the Celestine Prophecy, maybe. I don't know. It was a book like in my 2009 I read. Anyways, and I did it, and then it kept coming back for me to share with you guys in this series. So you may have done this before. There's different versions of this and what so have you, but you may not have. And even if you have, it's always fun to just play and experience, right? You might learn something new. You might click something new. Either way, it might just be a reminder to remind yourself to do it for you, because I think as healers, sometimes we give to everybody else and forget to give to ourselves. So all of that to say, whether you're new or not, this will be fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with our hands, right? So our hands are natural healers. Like when we hurt, we instinctively go, right? Because we're healer. We know our hands are healing, right? Even if we've never learned anything about healing work, that's an instinctive thing that we do, right? And another thing that can happen sometimes, if we don't move this energy, if we're not moving the energy in our field, we can get stagnant and stuck, right? And so creativity, moving or creative things like even gardening or writing or artwork and things like that can actually help to get this energy moving if it's feeling stuck as well. But before you do this, you always want to have a clear intention, right? To connect to the highest divine intention for yourself, mentally, spiritually, um, emotionally, etc. And so, what you want to do is just rub your hands together. Okay, so we're all going to do this together. This is going to be an interactive exercise. Okay, so our intention is that we're going to really be bringing and we're going to be activating your own the healing energy, your own healing energy that's in the highest alignment for you today, right? And the color and the vibration could change based on your energy field each day. So just rub your hands together and then you start to just pull your energy slow. So you might even, if it's easier for you to close your eyes, like kind of see what I'm doing and close your eyes, that might help you concentrate. But just rub your hands and then just kind of slowly pull them apart, just a little bit, and then push them back together. And start to see if you can be slow enough to pay attention to the buoyancy. Pull them back apart a little bit wider now, and then push forward until you feel the pushback, the buoyancy. You might want to kind of even play with it. So I'm building a healing energy ball. Okay. And then you can kind of draw the energy in and then push back. And you start to kind of create this compacted healing energy. It builds up, right? I like to also imagine my hands kind of being at that bright gold vibration, really matching the energy of that divine energy. And now I want you to take this healing energy. Your hands might even heat up. Some people get hot, some people get cool. But I don't know, I typically feel like more heat or sensation. But if you don't, that's fine. It's still working. Still play this activity through with me. Put it on your face or your hands. Just kind of just don't talk and just put it there. Like it literally feels like a massage facial. Right? And this is already getting activated in your field so you can build up. There's an infinite supply. So just when you use that, just again, start small and then you can kind of build up the ball pretty quickly. So when you feel like you get a nice, good, buoyant, healing ball built up, if you have an ache or a pain, right, on your neck or on your knee or wherever, you just put it there. Just with your intention, you're sending that there. Okay, I'll do another one. Build it back up. You can also have the intention for something specific. Maybe you don't know where the root is in your body. Maybe you go, okay, I've just been feeling depressed and low energy. And my intention is just to kind of, I want to move this, I want to clear the root cause of this like low energy and embody more vitality. This is where intention is very important. And just kind of bring it down through the top of your crown. Imagine it just is going to flow all the way down your chakra column through your whole body and just go exactly where it needs to be. So this is a really great and easy way to reset your energy as well, right? If you're starting to feel like I already feel so much relaxed, right? Do you? So now let's take a second. Let's build up the energy ball again. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to imagine, right? And this is works because there's no time and space, right? In spiritual work. So we're going to, whether you're live or replay, you're included. So play along. We're in a sacred circle together, and everybody's going to take their energy ball and pass it to their right. So I'm going to give my energy ball to that person, and I'm going to grab the person to my left, right? And just feel that energy ball. And just notice the difference. Like, and it's not a judgment, better or worse, this or that, because, right, it's attuned to our own highest healing energy for the day, right? So you might notice, oh, mine was bigger, theirs is smaller, one is cool, one is warm, one is buzzy, one is prickly, right? What do you notice different? This is also a great way to start asking, like, what color is it? How does it feel? This is your intuition, actually, one of your actual intuitive gifts, reading the energy, right? And notice, oh, you got the thought of orange or purple, trust it, right? Now let's pass it back. We'll give them their energy ball back. Okay. Now let's go the other direction. We'll go everybody to the other direction, to the left. And just take that next person, right? And just again, in the contrast, sometimes you can feel the difference. Okay. And just kind of notice, what do you notice? We'll pass their energy ball back. Okay. We'll do one more. You can set your energy ball down or use it in your body, and I'll hand you mine. And I'll just kind of give you three different awarenesses of energy, knowing that each person's is actually uniquely perfect for them, right? Even though there's differences in how it feels. Okay. So here's my energy ball. You just grab it from the screen. All right. Now you can hand it back. Taking my energy back. Mm, beautiful. All right. So now tell me in the chat, what did you notice? Right. And if you didn't notice, this is something really powerful to play with. Playing with this for yourself, running your own energy and using this as a healing if you're feeling exhausted or like you've taken on others' energy or anytime, like at any time, right? But also starting to play with it, whether it's your own or even recognizing right now, was it warm? Was it soft? Was it hot? Was it buzzy? Was it large? Was it smaller? Did it elicit joy or healing? Like what comes through? And just notice the differences. It was hot. Wow, high vibe. I felt a different temperature than mine. Awesome. I felt chills. Interesting. They felt different, mostly temperature for me. Awesome. Each one was a different size, color, and feeling. I love it. Right? Imagination is the key. Pretend you have all the abilities. Absolutely. You have to like your clairvoyance. We're going to talk about clairvoyance a lot on day 3, which it is. It's all part of your imagination, right? It's all tied together. Your ball was bigger than mine and easier to hold. Jen's pulsating. Awesome. The energy ball from my left was stronger than mine. Yours was stronger and strong and tingling. Awesome. And just know that yours though was exactly what you needed today, right? Perfect for you. So it's like the comparison. Um, Partner energy hall was a little smaller and light blue. Awesome. Awesome. Green, softer, larger, calming, chills during the first ball. Each had a different energy. See, isn't that fun? That's your intuitive awareness, right? And look at how quickly we were able to pull that energy together. Right? Just you can activate this anytime. So just remember, that's a great tool to put in your back pocket. Sometimes you're feeling exhausted because didn't that shift your energy? Like, do you feel better? Did you noticeable shift now in your energy than you were 5 minutes ago? I feel lighter. My ears are ringing now. Like I'm connecting with higher energy, right? Let's see, I think I saw somebody. Jen, do you know healing codes? I can't see the comment anymore. But if healing codes is a specific body of work, no. But healing codes, yes, I work with healing codes and I get downloads and I teach a lot of healing tools and I have attunements that I share with my students um, and activations and things like that for sure. Let's see. Sakura says Jen's teaching absolutely changed my life and I'm able to be more visible for my public. I know it's exciting. It's so fun to watch you shine and share your gifts, Sakura. It's amazing. Let's see. Okay, so that was a lot of fun. Let's see. You have a yellow origin. Oh, thank you. I surprised how different they all felt, right? Isn't it? So it's fun, right? So great awareness. You guys got an experience. So play with this, right? Play with this. And I would say, people, how you might see my energy or feel my energy in comparison could be different than somebody else. And they could all be true because it's your perspective in comparison, your perspective comparison to me, right? Which might be different than somebody else's. So, okay. So that's an awesome activation. And actually, I have another activation I want to work with. And it's funny because a lot of times I do this before. Yeah, it was meant to be done in the way that it was. So I'm glad that we did it, but I want to go back and do the actual activation around this as well. So you might notice too, maybe we'll play with that a minute at the end if we have time. Um, but yeah, even without the activation, you already got it coming, right? Which is exciting. So I want to do a clearing, right? So we're working with the light bodies a bit. So we're going to work on clearing the energy. So I'm going to work with a tool that I teach and attune my students called Deactivate and Elevate tool. And we're going to use it to help clear and remove fears and blocks around your ability to access your own healing energy, your gifts. And if you want to set an intention for something else that you're working on, like any unconscious healing agreements or a codependent agreements with others or whatever is going on, you can absolutely do that. Okay, so we're going to do a clearing and activation. And then I feel Archangel Raphael is another angel. We worked with Michael and Haniel yesterday. And today we're going to work with Archangel Raphael. And also, Hilarion is this is a ascended master that comes through a lot too. We'll see. Jesus sometimes comes through. Like every time I just let this part, who the guides that want to come through for the group. But we're going to work with I'm going to start with Archangel Raphael and do a aura healing. So we're going to work with the different light, all your energy bodies and do a little clearing there. And then we're going to have them activate your hands and your healing energy even further. Okay. So if wherever you're at, just meet you where you're at and goes to the next level. I always just send energy to your higher self. It's always up to you to have the intention to say, yes, I want this and receive it. And just trust that you're going to receive exactly what is highest and best for you. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into doing this activation and then I'll come back here. Okay. Oh, I love this one though. I don't want to lose it. I used my energy healing ball on severe arthritic, achy knees and shoulders, and they don't feel as bad now. That's amazing. Keep doing that. Almost every time, like what'll happen tomorrow, almost every time I'll see like posts in the group. I've had joint pain for the last 3 months on my shoulder and it's completely gone. I did a healing on my wrist and it's feeling amazing. It hasn't felt this good in months. Like things gone away completely. So you just let yourself have a miracle for sure. So we're going to go ahead and do the activation now, and then we will go from there. Okay. Just want to set this up so I can actually do it, record it separately for us. Okay. And then, of course, if questions come up at the end, we'll be on here for a little bit longer. Okay. So let's go ahead and begin. So go ahead and just close your eyes and take a moment to just close your eyes. You might even want to just put your hand on your heart or your belly and just put your attention and awareness on the body and the breath. And just take a few nice, deep cleansing breaths. Right? Take a nice deep breath in and hold at the top, and then exhale deeply. Another nice deep breath in and exhale. And one more time, just to synchronize the energy. Beautiful. So, from this space, you can start to set your own personal intention. I'm going to run the activation we also did yesterday called Ground Align Connect, just for an energetic flush. This is going to support you in grounding to the earth, aligning and embodying your higher self, and expanding your energy all the way up to source energy, that highest truth of who you are. And then just flush the energy field so that you can receive even more. I'm going to run that activation of Ground Align Connect now. Even if you want to receive it, just say yes in your mind. And just see, feel, or imagine that energy streaming down from above, down through your crown chakra, all the way through your energy field, helping you to ground and connect and release energy that's not serving your highest good, and to just serve as an energetic flush throughout this experience. Now I'm going to work with the deactivate and elevate tool for clearing energy, and I'll kind of just read the energy I'm seeing on a collective level that's happening. But if you have your own personal intention of something to release, a pain or a fear or an agreement, feel free to, or activating your gifts, whatever it is, you can set that intention now. I'm going to run the deactivate and elevate tool. And the first, it's like a two-prong. You might see, feel, or imagine some kind of like a medium, clear bluish energy as it's working through the clearing process. This works through all the different layers, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all the way even on a cellular level, also moving through the programmings, like the beliefs that we have been passed down through the generations. And then it starts to sprinkle in some gold as it's helping you to reset at that higher truth, right? From source's perspective, the highest divine truth. And that's kind of what I'm noticing release a lot of energy around your body's like, part of it is body programming. I feel like as a collective, we are in our body's going through an evolution as well. Our spiritual awareness is going through an awakening, but so is our physical body to embody more of our higher light energy than it has in like thousands of years. And so I see a lot of like programming, body programming from passed down through the genetics says, that kind of limits or prohibits the body from being able to truly heal itself in the highest and best way. Our bodies can always heal themselves. So just clearing any limitations that says, oh, it has to be this way or that way, or, you know, through a specific avenue. And I think that spirit can work through the medical field as well. And I also believe simultaneous that we can heal ourselves through our energy and through healing our stuck emotions and the root cause of things. Together, they work really powerfully. Also, noticing a connection to releasing a lot of energy out of the sacral chakra, like there's some energetic cords, perhaps even past relationships. But what I'm noticing is that just desire to activate and access more of your own creative energy. We all have our own creative energy. And so I see like a healing happening between that creative energy that gets generated the sacral all the way up through your creative channels, through your throat and down your arms and out your hands. Really just expanding that capacity to run high frequency energy. Also see that energy coming in through the crown. The crown chakra works a lot in tandem for channeling in different ways with the throat chakra. Also, just noticing of clearing out any other lifetimes where it wasn't safe to be a healer or wasn't safe to be intuitive, fears of other people's judgments from this lifetime or other lifetimes. Beautiful. And now Archangel Raphael's coming. I'm going to channel his energy through my hands and send it energy healing. If you'd like to receive, you could just say yes. And he'll kind of work through my hands on your aura, on your different energy bodies, just working through the physical, ethereal, emotional, mental, all the way through. Also working on that nervous system. Looks like that conversation, just like clearing the nervous system of things you're ready to. Of course, you're always only going to ever let go of whatever you're ready to let go of. Sometimes it's still serving a purpose if we haven't gotten to a level of conscious awareness around a pattern. Looks like a lot of energies releasing a lot off the back of the aura. A lot of the energy of like other people's projections, other people's demands, other people's perhaps judgment, jealousy, envy, just other people's projections about you. Um, Kind of made the back of the energy field a little dense. And so I see that moving off nicely. Beautiful. Now, if you'd like, you can place your hands palm up and actually see Jesus coming through. So, Jesus, if you feel called, and Jesus is non-denominational, is happy, he's amazing healer, ascended, master who's willing to work with everybody. So if you feel comfortable with letting him place his hands on yours, that could be great. I also see Archangel Raphael here as well, working a bit on healing on the back of the heart. So you might feel some energy on the back of the heart chakra or on your hands, helping to release. Well, it could be emotions, it could be grief, it could be fear. There's lots of energy off the back of the heart being released, probably different for each person. Nice. Do you see the ascended master Hilarion as well, just kind of working in your upper out of body chakras? So from the crown chakra all the way up to that connection with source energy, just supporting your ability to channel and have a deeper, it feels like a deeper awareness and discernment of the energy that you are bringing in. For some healers, that feels like some of the fear. And I do think discernment's really important, which comes with time, practice, and energetic tools and awareness for sure, but it's like helping you to be aware and attuned to the frequency of love, like unconditional love, divine love, right? Not the human conditional love template that we're shedding right now. Beautiful. All right. So we can thank our guides. Just take a moment to just fill yourself up. You can just imagine embodying yourself with your highest divine energy as this healing starts to wrap up. And I can have Archangel Raphael as well. Feels like could be a support to just help you bring in your energy. Every time you release energy, you want to bring in and embody even more of your highest truth, your highest divine essence. You want to replace and replenish where you've let go from things that are not true to who you are, not serving you or other people's energy. Just feel that go all the way down through your body, through your chakra, through your toes, to your aura, but in the back of your aura and the below your feet in your aura, all directions, just filling you up. Take another nice deep breath in. And when you feel complete, you can open your eyes. Beautiful. I'd love to hear how that was for you. When I try my healing energy on myself, it doesn't last for more than a few hours. Part of it's just a healing journey. We have to get to the root cause. We have to get underneath the underlying, right? We have to get for anything, whether we're doing it for ourselves or for others. Just know that even for a few hours, that is shifting your vibration. That is shifting your healing. That is working, right? But for something just to actually complete healing and to anchor in as the new normal, right? You have to get to the root cause of it. You have to understand where is it being driven from. And sometimes we have different layers of things that we're not aware of yet, or we haven't, at the end of the day, when we're clearing and healing, we have to get all the way to the core root of that to clear that out. And oftentimes that creates a new level of awareness, a new action, a new decision of some kind, right? Sometimes it's just releasing a pattern, but if we're holding on to pain or anger, then we have to get to the root of that as well. So a lot of times it's just about getting to the core. It doesn't mean it's not working. It just means that there's still more to do. And it might be good to start to focus on the TLC meditation could be a good place to start of like, well, where is the root of whatever it is that you're working on healing? What is the root? Where is the root of it? Where in my body is the root cause of this in my field, right? So you can start to understand, identify, and release it from there, which often does require new action, new boundary, a conversation with somebody. Like sometimes it creates a new way of being on some level, right? Because the awareness is not there, the pattern doesn't need to be held there anymore because we've gotten to the root cause. And so that's not always going to happen overnight. It's not always going to happen on the first one, but rest assured, every time you run healing energy, you are chipping away at it. Right. And then, when I work in my programs, I always teach to go deeper processes, to go deeper into identifying and clearing the root cause of things from this lifetime, other lifetimes, including ancestral line programming and things like that. That could be part of it. Right. It could be trauma of the past as well. Christy says Jen's healing tools are very powerful, energetically, mentally, and physically. Thank you. It is. It's fun, calming, and relaxing. I felt like stuff was being cleared. I need to exhale it through my mouth. Whatever works. Deep breaths. The breath is healing. The breath is like our life force, right? Our breath is huge, especially if you're using it with intention to move and to get centered and to shift from your nervous system regulation, right? All of that. Um, Let's see. Yes, ancestral negative narratives about me from others are spot on. Yeah, that was showing up big. I had to get water afterwards. Thanks for mentioning that because definitely over the course of this whole week, it's a highly transformational container. We're going to be doing activations the rest of the next few days. Actually, there is also I haven't mentioned this. It might be on your calendar. You might have seen it in the email. But on Friday, we have a bonus day where I'm going to do a 60-minute clairvoyant aura reading and clearing on the collective group energy, which is really powerful and healing as well. Um, and then also next Thursday, October 2nd, we're going to do an expansion journey, which is expand into your highest timeline. We talk about shifting from 3D to 5D and how to be a conscious creator, how to take all this energy we do. So, the whole, drink lots of water, take good care, make time to journal if things are coming up. Like, this is a powerful opportunity to transform. Okay. This is a great. So Lauren says, I joined your workshop a good while ago when I was new to you and your channel, and I was disappointed because I didn't feel anything at all. But now these last 2 days are going much better. That's just a great awareness. It's like a good contrast of who you are now and who you were then, right? We receive things differently. And the reason why I shared that is because I know that other people sometimes it's their first time, like I'm not getting these visual experiences. I don't have the awareness that that was Archangel Michael yet. Like I'm frustrated. Don't be frustrated. Use it as inspiration. We all have these gifts. These gifts are true to who we are. We're all a soul, we all have a body. Our intuition is simply the conscious awareness, translation, ability to discern the unseen world, right? Which includes our intuition and our spirit guides. And that's something that gets to be developed, but something that we all have that we can develop. We got to put the time and energy in. So it just takes a little time, right? It just takes a little time. And I think that contrast is good. So let other people's experiences inspire you, not limit you. Right. And you never know which one is going to be the one. Like some people have the most impact on day one. Some people it's day three. Day three and day four are powerful. We do the third eye activation to the 5D and above energy. We work on the channeling. I have a light language transmission for you guys. I'm going to do on Thursday. So there's a lot more to come. Okay. So all I can say is keep staying the course. It takes as long as it takes, right? My awakening started in 2008 and I still do the work, right? And I still have seasons of change. Sometimes it's a season, not just a day or a week or an hour. Sometimes we have a bigger season of change or a bigger season of growth opportunity, right? We have multiple, what you would call our first dark night of the soul can feel jolting and intense because we go from unconscious to conscious, but we still have other wake up moments, tower moments if you do the tarot, right? So it takes what it takes. Sometimes we have divorces, we have job loss, we have grief, we have a loss of a loved one. There's many things that can happen in our life, even after we've been on this journey, that can rock things, but they're always going to end up being an opportunity of transformation and growth if you choose to see it that way, right? And ultimately it takes as long as it takes. So the alternative is to stay stuck or to stay where you are, or to stay disempowered or blaming outside of ourselves, right? The empowered thing to do is to just be surrendered to the process and the journey, enjoy the journey, just take it one step at a time, and things will shift. You look back in hindsight and go, wow, I can't believe things have changed. I would have handled that situation so differently. I would have been so triggered in the past from this, or I would have responded with a knee jerk reaction. And now I'm more centered, right? Or more present, right, with somebody in a situation. So the change happens, but it's about just staying the course, right? And I say that with lots of love because I know it's not always easy in the moment, but that's really all we can do, right? All right. So I hope that, and then take the tools and processes, right? And just notice like where are we not upholding the, like we talked about, things that are important to us to sustain us in our inner energy, right? Are we doing things differently? Because if we do the same thing with the same thoughts over and over again, right? Is it Einstein that said, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result's going to not yield much. And I'm not saying, we're not doing things at times, but sometimes it takes longer than we think we want it to or it should. And sometimes there's more things that we could be doing differently that we haven't yet brought on board to shift, like our beliefs, right? Our core healing, our things. And like, but ultimately, sometimes there's longer periods of time of growth and then sometimes they're shorter lived things. So, yes, thank you. Day three, I love that. My team's on it. Day three, spiritual tooth, tapping into your sixth chakra is going to be is going to be amazing. And let me know if you have comments or questions on the replay. I do my best to come back and answer things. If you asked things yesterday, especially in the Facebook group, YouTube's a little more challenging with the comments when I go live. It doesn't always give me the ability to reply directly to them. So that's why I try to really pay attention to them as we go along. Am I a Aquarius? I'm a Scorpio. Scorpio with Scorpio rising and Aries moon. So it makes sense I'd be doing the transformation work, right? And psychic development work. I teach people how to develop their gifts and do the deeper healing. So it works perfect with my sign. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. and I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.